Previously on Recent Wonders.
I have to leave Powell River to kind of get an immersion. So we decided to go on a trip to Alberta.
Why the f did I do that? Whew. One moment, please. I think I'm okay now.
But it's a fairly big ferry. It's way bigger than...
One of the most iconic things to do in Vancouver is drive over the Hope. So let's see what we're gonna see around Hope.
Unbelievably epic.
This is fucking epic. I did not expect this.
I thought it was just some random town that just have nature.
As we're cruising towards Nelson and going through the jaw-dropping forests of British Columbia, I had to pull over a few times. The views are that epic. Flying my drone, capturing those scenes, honestly, it feels like stepping into a storybook. Rivers racing along the road, towering trees scaling the mountains. The views are absolutely unreal. So, get out of your car and enjoy the scenery of British Columbia, because this is what makes it that beautiful. As we continued our journeys, we stumbled upon this absolutely charming little town called Osoyoos. Tucked right in the heart of the Okanagan Valley, with a cozy population of just 5,556 people, Osoyoos is surrounded by desert, vineyards, the mountains that make it a real gem. But the real star of the show was the Osoyoos Lake, famous for being the warmest lake in the country. And here's the kicker, it was so close to the US border that the lake is actually shared with these states. Tooling along, I couldn't help but falling in love with this tiny picturesque town, soaking in the views of the lake and the mountains. But all good things must come to an end. Now it's time for us to hit the road to Nelson. As we drove on, I was blown away by how the weather just couldn't make up its mind. Sunny one minute, foggy the next, then rainy, and then back to sunny. Come on, BC, pick a lane already. As we rolled into Nelson, we were greeted by some gorgeous sunshine. Talk about luck. But before diving into the city's charm, we had to check into our hostel and ditch our bags. We booked a stay at the Dancing Bear because it was on short notice. It wasn't nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. Finding the place was a breeze, and parking was available at both of the front of the building and also at the back. The building looked pretty sweet from the outside, but as soon as you walk in, you are welcome with this cozy sitting area filled with plants that make you feel right at home, which is very hard to pull off. The reception's right there too. We grabbed our keys, left our shoes downstairs, and head up to our room. And that was basically it. Simple. Just what you expect from a 72 Canadian dollars a night. Once we're all checked in, we decided to hit the town center, which was just a short walk away from our stay. Wandering around, I could not help but notice that Nelson had way more shops and restaurants than Hope did. Sure, it's a bigger city, but still, it got a vibe. What really set Nelson apart for me was its access to the Kootenay Lake. There's something magical about being so close to the water. I'm sure that Nelson has more unique stuff, but considering the time, that will be another adventure for another day. So, that is basically what we did in Nelson. Onwards to our next destination. Alright, now to our next stop, Radium Hot Springs, where I finally get to experience the Rocky Mountains for the first time. I've been looking forward for this since the beginning of this trip, but before heading straight to Radium, we decided to do a little detour. Instead of taking the usual route driving through Crescent, we opted for a more scenic adventure, taking the free ferry, by the way, it is free, from Belfort Harbor across the Kootenay Lake to Crawford Bay, a place I've been itching to explore, and you will know why in a moment. Once we arrived in Crawford Bay, we found this area with the most unique shop, all selling handmade treasures crafted by the shop owners themselves. One shop had a lady weaving handmade scarves on a loom. Watching her work was memorizing. What looked impossibly complex, she made it seem effortless. Goddamn, that woman had some mad skills. There were other shops offering handmade mugs, cups, and even goods from a local blacksmith. Seriously, if you ever get a chance, you have to check this place out. It's such an interesting and unique spot that you didn't anticipate. As we continue our journey to Radium after stopping at Crawford Bay, I started catching the glimpse of the Rocky Mountains. The closer we got to Alberta, the bigger and more breathtaking they became. And oh boy, were they stunning. Seeing the snow-capped peaks was everything I was hoping for. Absolutely majestic. As you drive further, you get plenty of opportunities to soak in those Rocky Mountain views, so take your time and enjoy the scenery. As for my fellow travelers, here's an insider tip that I will share with you. Don't tell anybody. If you're interested in finding some free natural hot springs around Radium, there are a few you can look up online. We tried to check one out, but unfortunately, it was already crowded. Just a heads up, being free does not mean always that it's going to be available. But the day wasn't a total loss because I get to see some mountain goats along the way, which was pretty cool. At least they're not trying to kill me like most wildlife in British Columbia. So that was a plus. Finally, after multiple detours, we made it to Radium Hot Spring and we headed straight to our accommodation. After the longest drive of the trip so far, we were in serious need of rest. We booked 3 nights, giving us plenty of time to explore and unwind. Our stay was at Inn on Canyon, and let me tell you this, of all the places we stayed on this trip, this one easily takes the top spot. From the moment I arrived, I was blown away. The Inn on Canyon is surrounded by beautiful trees. The building itself is designed like a cozy home that's been transformed into an inn with multiple rooms upstairs and a charming dining area on the ground floor. As you pull up, you're greeted with a big sign for the inn, and just behind it there is a terrace where guests can relax and soak in the views. Parking was a breeze with plenty of spots for everybody. The dining area was just as impressive. Breakfast was included and the food was amazing. The whole place had such a cozy, beautiful vibe that I actually felt like home, which is no easy feat. Our room had everything we needed. Fridge, TV, it was spotless and super organized. Not that our other accommodation weren't great, but this one was another level. I was thrilled with this booking, especially we be here for 3 nights. Once we got a full night of sleep, we woke up the next morning to drive to Radium Hot Springs, which is basically a few minutes away from the Inn on Canyon, which why we booked this place in the first place. As we arrive, you will pass through this unique tunnel designed to keep both people and animals safe from traffic. But weird enough, my brain went, imagine bumping into a wolf or bear on your way to Hot Springs. That'll be hilarious. Anyway, I don't know why I'm always thinking of something out to get me. Once you arrive, prepare for the crowds, but that depends on the season. Most hot springs are busier in winter because most people want to go there in that season. But this place also had a swimming pool, which people come here for swimming in summers. But that was closed for renovation, which played in our favor. As for the pricing, it varies depending on what you're after. Single entry day pass, group rates, annual pass, you name it, they have it. We opted for the single entry since we're only staying for the day. While you're at the desk paying, check out the posters around because they share the fascinating history of Radium. After paying, you'll be directed to the changing room, which is basically the same changing room as you find in a swimming pool. There's private and non-private, and before you dive in, make sure you take a shower and wash off all the cooties on you. After you make your ways from the showers to the hot springs pool, you will notice the variety of depth. The shallow end is near the entrance and it gets deeper as you move further in. There's also a cold water dip, which of course the Finnish in me had to try it out. In the opposite side, at the far end, you can see where the hot springs waterfalls come from the mountain, and that was very interesting to see how much water is coming from the mountains. But that was basically it for the whole spring experience. Check it out, it's really relaxing and amazing.
Alright, let's hit the road to our next destination, Banff National Park, Lake Louise, the city of Banff, and finally Calgary, where we'll be attending Oda Fest, which is an anime convention. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this part of the trip was a bit of a letdown, and I'll explain why. As we cruise through the gorgeous roads of Banff National Park, And so picture this. I'm imagining this picture-perfect straight roads I saw online with wide blue skies framed by towering green trees. Rivers so clear you think, is this real? And the epic peaks of the Rocky Mountains. It's one of those pinch me moments, right? But then things took a dark turn. As we get deeper into Banff, this weird haze fog started creeping in. It wasn't the cool, mysterious kind. It was the, oh, something is wrong kind one. Even though the weather forecast did not mention fog, the further we went, the worse it got. And then it hit me. Forest fires. Yep, Alberta was dealing with serious forest fires that blanketed the entire area in smoke. The peaks were hidden, the trees covered in gray. Honestly, it's sad. These fires are way too common nowadays, and seeing the aftermath, burned trees reduced to nothing but ash, just leaves you empty. I knew as we headed to Lake Louise, the smoke was probably gonna ruin the experience. But then I said to myself, in my head,
hey, I am already here, let me give it a shot. Maybe it won't be so bad. Hold on a minute. Why is my inner voice suddenly sound British? Oh, I know why. It's because the only thing that'll make this mess tolerable is a good dose of British sarcasm in it. Yeah, apparently my inner voice has always been British, and it decided this was the perfect moment to make its grand entrance. So there I was, with my sassy British sidekick in my head, convincing me to keep going. Oh, did you think I was done? Not a chance, love. I'm sticking around for a bit longer because, let's be real, no amount of editing magic can save this part of the video. Buckle up, it's going to be a ride. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, Lake Louise. Now, parking at Lake Louise. Absolute chaos, mate. People rocking up at 5 a.m., 5 in the bloody morning. I mean, are you all right? We strolled in around 7:30, thinking we were early birds. But nope, already packed tighter than a tin of biscuits. And naturally, parking wasn't free because why on earth would it be? Heaven forbid we get a break. So after the joy of hunting down a parking spot, we start our little jaunt around the lake and oh, what's that? The smoke's creeping in as if it's invited to the party. The majestic mountain peaks? Ha! Nowhere to be seen. But bless, there was still a bit of that bright blue water clinging on for dear life. Not exactly the postcard perfection I was hoping for. But, well, beggars can't be choosers. We took a charming little stroll to get a proper gander at Lake Louise, and the fancy pants chateau Lake Louise. White posh, really. And I'll throw in a fun fact, because who doesn't love those? This chateau was built way back in 1890 by the Canadian Pacific Railway. Naturally, they named it after Princess Louise, daughter of Queen Vicky herself. It started as a quaint lodge for all the adventurous types, but after a little fiery mishap in 1924, they rebuilt it into the grand old place we see today. Luxury and history all rolled into one. Fancy, right? But here's the kicker. As we're soaking in this supposedly stunning scenery, the smoke just keeps getting worse, like it's on some sort of mission to ruin everyone's day. So we cut our losses and legged it to Banff. And Banff? Well, let me tell you, it was a right disappointment. I was expecting views of the Rockies, but instead, all we got was 50 shades of grey, and not the good kind. Everything I'd seen online, all those glorious mountain shots, gone. Just smoke, as far as the eye could see. The town itself wasn't half bad, I suppose. Lots of little shops and whatnot. But let's be real, the main attraction is the Rocky Mountains. And if I can't see those, what's the point? So we bailed, for the sake of our lungs and what little was left of our sanity.
Oi, Barry, stop hijacking my videos and crawl back into your little corner. What is this?
Oh, sod off, mate. Your video was utter rubbish from the start. If it weren't for my intervention, no one would have stuck around.
Seriously? There were freaking forest fires, Barry. What did you expect me to do? Sparkle some magic and make it look all amazing?
Oh, please. You lie to yourself on a daily basis. Why not fake it for the camera too? It's practically your hobby.
This is why I cannot stand you, and why you should stay exactly where you belong, in the back of my head.
Fine. But we'll see who comes crawling out to save your sorry ass next time you muck it up.
Yeah, whatever. Now, can I please finish my videos in peace? Anyways, switching gear. On our way to Calgary now, and the first thing I've noticed how flat it is. Seriously, no mountains, no hills, just endless prairies. It totally made sense in my mind why Calgary is expanding so fast. Because it's so easy to build massive suburban areas, like for people to just move in. But downtown Calgary, that is a little bit of a different story. It has tall skyscrapers, a lot of things to see, buildings, hotels, trams, and so much things around, which is quite a big change for me from Powell River. And I enjoyed it. It was fun and cozy. I don't know. Not Vancouver though. As we finished for downtown Calgary, we went to our Airbnb, which was located in a quiet suburban area, perfect for the weekend, and that was the time for us to enjoy Otafest. And Otafest was my first anime convention. I had a blast. Seriously, I did not expect that. There was so many amazing cosplayers that I captured all of them, and probably you should check my other videos to see the highlights of their beautiful cosplay and everything about what happened there. But the whole event was just pure fun. Honestly, I did not think I was gonna enjoy it this much. I was a little bit hesitant and a little bit anxious because it's my first time, but I look forward to doing this again and trying it all over again. Maybe going a bigger one, but Otafest was the perfect first time anime lover to experience anime convention. I highly recommend it. But like all good things, the trip has to come to an end, and it was time for us to head back to Powell River, the tiny town I live in.
So you're probably wondering if I found the answers I was looking for, whether the things I was experiencing were a Powell River kind of culture shocks or whether is it a whole Canadian culture shock. And the answer was both. Some of them were definitely unique to Powell River and the other ones was for whole Canada as a whole. But I will dive into those ones in later videos. But right now, as you can see, I'm back in Powell River, beautiful, and I need desperately a rest because that was a long journey. So thank you for joining for this adventure. I know it was a bit messy here and there, but come on, I did not expect a forest fire, so give me a break. So thank you for joining again in this adventure, and hopefully we'll do another one soon. And thank you. And don't forget to subscribe or I'll hunt you down. Maybe. Just kidding. Who knows? But anyway, thank you. Peace out. Wes is going now. I need to sleep.